Hi guys, Everyday Knife Guy here, and as you can see we have 3 SAKs before us today. And if you can read, you've probably read the title of this video, which tells you that we're only be looking at one of these, which is this guy here, the Waiter. And if you follow the channel, you'll have noticed a while ago I picked up a whole bunch of these cheap on eBay. They were all in pretty poor shape, and a variety of different models. The Recruit, you'll probably have seen the destroying video for that and so on. And a few I've looked to refurbish. These ones, the scales on these actually weren't terrible, so I just cleaned these 3 up, and I'm just going to keep them as they are, as just kind of extra knives to have around in bags and packs, and just sit around and yeah, it is what it is. They're just cheap Swiss Army knives. You can't really go wrong with that. So let's get rid of these 2, and let's comment for a second on why we're starting with this one, which is the Waiter, as I said. These are all 84mm SAKs. You can see on there the scales on this are not exactly in awesome condition, but they're not terrible either. Now, I thought this one was quite blunt. I had all 3 of these in the sink in hot soapy water. I was cleaning them up. I was using the trusty pink toothbrush. Where is it? Yeah, this guy you've probably seen before, and that has cleaned a lot of SAKs, my friends, and it's starting to show. We might have to invest in a new pink toothbrush soon. But I'm quite attached to this one. I find the performance is really good, and I don't see any need to upgrade to higher end materials or higher end bristles or anything. This one works pretty well for me. But anyway, yeah, so I was cleaning up all 3 of them at once. I'd done the other 2, and this was the last guy, and I had him open. It makes me a little bit jittery just recreating this, but I had it open something like this, and I was cleaning down here with a Q-tip, I think, and there was some gunk down in there. There's something down there. You can see it's still not all that clean. There was something in there that was really pissing me off, and I was just jabbing at it, and I slipped, and I wasn't too bothered that this was open because I knew this knife was super blunt, and I slipped and I went something like that down there, and that happened. That is now about almost 2 weeks old, and yeah, that bled a lot and was really quite deep. This whole half my finger was kind of flapping open. There was blood everywhere. There was much cursing, as you can imagine, and yeah, it was pretty sore. I'll admit it was pretty sore. This is obviously not as blunt as I initially thought. You can see it's a pretty trash blade. Lots of nice chips and probably bacterial stuff on there. On the plus side, it was in hot soapy water being washed at the time, so it could have been worse. And as it turned out, some quick thinking by me, a quick bit of wrapping and some stereo strips holding it all together. Some care, but I wouldn't go so far as to say sympathy, by my wife, who is a registered nurse. And yeah, it was all good. So I still have pretty good feeling in this. It's quite tender on the tip still. You can see there's still quite a deep little cut in there. The whole thing just kind of opened up for a while and it all started peeling off. It's pretty gross, but you guys probably like seeing this sort of thing, so I'm going to show you nice and close if I can get it to focus. Anyway, so beware the apparently blunt SAK in the sink, because it can all go wrong quite quickly, and it's just a reminder that in this hobby you have to be a little bit more careful than, say, if you are stamp collecting or something like that. So anyway guys, long story short, let's get back to what we're talking about here, which is the Waiter. And yeah, quite intrigued by one of these. I've always had kind of a little fantasy about having one of these in the kitchen drawer with all the other bottle openers and cork removal devices. And it is a very simple SAK. It is just a single layer, as you can see. Large pen blade, nice and sharp, as we know now. Super scratch. This one's been used plenty. Usual stamping on there, Victorinox Switzerland, stainless rust fry. And the other end, the saving grace of the tool, is of course the combo tool, which is always a favourite. And yeah, I guess you could have the can opener element of that for opening a container of cocktail cherries or something. I don't know why you'd be crimping wires with this tool if it was kind of on your wet bar or whatever. But anyway, it is what it is. Toothpick and tweezers, of course, as usual. I'm going to put that blade away because it's just freaking me out, and I really don't want to recreate history. And of course, the thing that makes it the Waiter, I would say, is a corkscrew, which I am a fan of. There is something quite satisfying about pulling a cork out of a wine bottle with a SAK, and it's a pleasurable thing that we don't get to do very often these days. Not because I've cut back on alcohol, far from it. Just because wine has become so much of a screw cap beverage, unfortunately, which I don't like. But it is what it is, and of course synthetic corks these days aren't quite the same anyway. So yeah, it's rare that I'm able to afford a wine that has a proper cork and get the pleasure of using something like this to pull it out. So that's it, guys. It's a really, really simple little one. Quite cool to have in the collection. You can see this has definitely had some abuse. It was perhaps thrown across a bar in spite or something, if you want to imagine that sort of storyline. It has a dent you can see in the liner there. The corkscrew looks a little bit bent to me. The knife blade's well used. The combo tool is pretty well scratched up too, to be honest. And yeah, this one I'm going to keep now because sentimental reasons because of this. And yeah, probably will go in that kitchen drawer with all the other bottle opening devices. And yeah, get used from time to time. So there it is, guys. That is a Victorinox Waiter 84mm SAK. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with overviews on the other two models sometime in the coming days and weeks. Thanks, and have a great day.